The fact that he's old enough doesn't mean that he's mature enough to lead. The fact that he's young enough doesn't mean he's mature enough to lead. What is it that makes someone mature enough to lead in a relationship? Hello and welcome to Future Husband Diaries. My name is Ma Onesisiswana. To the girl that has been healing with us, to the girl that has been journaling with us, to the girl that has been praying with us, welcome. To the girl who's new to the platform, like, subscribe, share with someone that you think would definitely benefit from this. And let's grow together. Let's grow spiritually, physically, every aspect of our life. Let's grow holistically. This topic stems from the question that we have. When it comes to an African cultural setup, it doesn't matter whether that person is Christian or that person is not Christian. They always tell you the man has to lead. That is how it has always been said. The man has to lead. And in order for him to lead, the first thing that we are told as a young girl, you're told you're growing up. That's one thing that has been drilled in us. That is something that you have been told. If he has to lead, he has to be older. There is no way he can lead while he's younger, because we have set up years to equal maturity. But that is not it. Age and maturity are not the same thing. There's some people, whenever you look at them, this person is 40 years old, this person is like 50 years old. But then when you're talking to them and having a conversation, this person is definitely not mature enough to be having this conversation. The things that are coming out of your mouth make me question now. They'll be like if you didn't have these white hairs on your head, I'll be wondering whether I'm spiritual, if I'm talking to someone who's actually 25, because you are showing that you are not mature enough. Yes, in terms of age, in terms of what you have actually grown, but that doesn't mean that you get that wisdom from your age. The older they get, the more mature they actually are. They get this maturity from the experiences, they learn from their mistakes, and they actually grow. But then the other people who actually stay in the same place, who actually are stagnant. They actually stay there. They stay as a 25-year-old. They are 40 years old. They're 50 years old. Still mature enough like a 25-year-old. Still acting like a 25-year-old. Having a conversation with this person, and I feel like I'm having a conversation with a 25-year-old. That person is definitely not mature enough. So how can you tell? There are three things that you actually need to do when it comes to you checking whether this person is mature enough or this person is not mature enough. Number one, how does this person lead? When they are having a conversation, do they show the wisdom, the maturity, the experience that they've encountered along the way? Or they're just having a conversation and to them it's just wobbly and they raise their voice in order to command or they're just imposing what they want on you, able to control their emotions. Controlling your emotions is one of the things that you actually need to check whether you are mature enough. If you are, I'm not saying like everyone who's mature can handle their emotions. It so happens that sometimes you get to a point where like, no, something got away from me at this point, or I did this, and then you are able to look back on it and have remorse over it, and then apologize to other people like, oh no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to have it like this. Therefore, that shows maturity in some way. But someone who's not mature enough, they act and like someone who's not even mature. And the thing is, they do not take responsibility for their actions. They're always blaming someone else for the actions that they actually took place, while they are the ones who actually did that. That is a person who is not mature enough. And then number two, how can you tell whether someone is mature enough to lead? We have seen this in terms of Christ. Christ had servant leadership. He actually saved the community. He actually did all of these things. And even though he was the leader, but he made it in such a way that everyone felt welcome. That's the kind of leader that I'll expect. So if you have a person who is actually leading you, but they are the ones who are always making the decisions, then it shows that there is no maturity in it. Maybe if they come to you and you share and then they take your point and then they bring it forward, that shows a level of maturity. It doesn't happen all the time. I have that problem too, where, I feel like people are not moving at the same pace that I want them to move. I want them to move. Let's do this. And then people are showing that they are being reluctant, and then I start to push them. Yes, it can happen in that way at some point, right? But overally, what is it that you do? Is it something that you do every single time, or is it something because this is a time sensitive matter, then in that time sensitive matter you actually push? Yes, make the decision to have that discernment to know that this is a time sensitive matter that I need to push those people, but this is not a time sensitive matter. I can take my own time and therefore take all the advice that people are giving me and then push it forward. That is what is the last but not least point on how you can tell whether someone is very mature or they're not mature. It's not about only you talk, but they actually show. They show by their actions, the actions that they do. They show, like, the actions that they do, they actually match up what they say. There are so many people who are all good and all great when it comes to talk, but when it comes to action, they do not have the same sentimentalism, or the things that they say and the things that they do not tally up. That person is not mature. A mature enough person will actually say what they mean and mean what they say, and they actually do the things that they mean. If it doesn't help or it doesn't get to that point, therefore you might really take a step back and actually analyze whether this is the relationship that I want to be in, or it's not a relationship that I want to be in. Maturity is something that is very important, especially for a woman, because this person will actually be the one who will actually lead you. I'm not saying he's going to dominate you, no. When it comes to leadership, as I've said, leadership is all about servant leadership. And you can actually go to the topic that I had before, the one which is talking about feminism versus submission. And you actually learn a lot about what really is submission, what really is leadership. When we are looking at age, most of the times we usually equate, as I've said, age to maturity, but that is not how it's supposed to be, or that is not how it usually is. Because there are some people actually older, as I've said, you have the experience, but do not have the maturity maybe because they're not learning from their mistake, or they're not actually, the things that are pouring into them are not making them to actually grow. What are the things that are actually pouring into you? Those are the questions that you should be asking yourself. What are the things that are actually pouring into you? Because those are the things that actually make you to grow as a person. The kind of environment that you're in, the kind of people that you spend time with are the people that actually pour into you, and they actually make you to be more mature and have the growth that you need. There are some people who stay where they are, not because of anything, but because of the environment that they've actually built for themselves, and they have actually put themselves inside a box so as to make sure that they stay inside that box. So years come in, years go by, we say happy birthday, but then at the end of the day, you're not growing as a person because they have limited themselves because of the environment and the space and the kind of people that they have, the friends that they keep around. Therefore, they are not making them to grow. But a person who's mature enough will actually experiment, will actually look at the world, how the world is and how it is shifting and how it can pour into him, be able to analyze whether this is something that I would want to pour into me, or this is not something that I'll pour into me. Because you find a 40-year-old still playing around with 20-year-old on the streets. They're busy sitting there, like we're chilling and they're just sitting on the street. Then you start to wonder, as a 40-year-old, you should outgrow such things. You should get to a point where you are mature enough to say, no, I have passed this timeline in my life. I'm getting to a point where this is what is supposed to be pouring into me because my frontal lobe is actually fully developed. If my frontal lobe is actually developed, I should be in this right space of mind so as to make sure that the things that are pouring into me are making me grow. Then there are other people who are like 25 years old who have made it in such a way that they've surrounded themselves with older people that have made them to actually mature more than the age where they are at. Maybe it doesn't have to be the environment. It may be the circumstances that are around them. They made them to actually grow fast. It might be their childhood. It might be their family. It might be something else that made them to be actually more responsible than what they actually are. Maybe as a 21-year-old, most of the times in the normal distribution, you expect a 21-year-old to be doing this and this and that. But because this person has actually experienced more of life, they do not feel at that point, this is what I should be doing. they are more mature, then they get to, they think like a 30-year-old, they think like a 40-year-old, is because of that. But what I would say is, or what advice I'll give to a person who's actually thinking about whether they should date someone who's actually younger or do not date someone who's actually younger. The reason there is this trend that's going on TikTok, is it? But it's on social media where they actually say, if you want to see how you get, whether you can date someone who's younger or older, they say what? Take your age, divide it by 2, then add 7. That's the range of which you can be able to date. I don't know what the science is in that, but what I can say is take your poison. Yes, let me say it plainly. Take your poison. If you really want to date someone who's younger than you, take it in such a way that you understand the things that will come in or that will affect that relationship, and you are willing to stand by this person that you have chosen, even if all those things come about. I'm not going to come here and tell you all the flowery things and tell you that it will work out. It might work out or it might not work out. But what is it that makes you guys to stand and be strong in that? It is because you understand the things that will come to you and you are willing to stand together even though those things come about. It might happen that your family, your friends, or the people might look at your relationship and be like, no, there's something wrong with this relationship. They might talk. It's not, they might say we accept or what, it's possible, but most of the times there's always other people that will say, this seems a little bit weird. Why? Because of the culture that we are growing up with. As an African, it's really, really hard for us to look at a relationship where the man is younger, and we think, because this is how we have been programmed, right? If you really want to deprogram people, I think the more we talk about it, the more it will actually get to a point where we'll be like, yes, we are okay with that. But most of the people, when it comes to our culture, they are very, very judgmental. They're very judgmental. So number one, are you willing to take all the judgment that will come to you? It doesn't matter whatever the eyes that you get, the talk that you get, the rumors that you get. It doesn't matter. Are you still willing to stay with this person if that comes? If you are willing to do that, then it's fine with you, right? And then the other thing is, it might happen that this person or the guy that you have actually chosen will actually be immature. In your own perspective, you'll be saying he's acting immature, but he might not really be acting immature. Maybe he might be acting his age at that point. And to you, it might look immature. Are you willing to handle those times and be able to get over that and not take on the mother hen kind of spot where you'll be like, I'm going to take control, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take over. You are not being serious. But you will not do that, but you still let him lead, even though at some point you feel like, no, that's a bit immature. But you have that conversation to be like, okay, I understand what you're doing, this is and that, right? But I really would have liked it if it was so. For example, I'm saying maybe you get into a restaurant, maybe you didn't book the restaurant, and then you be like, no, I'm going to take over you. Now you are the one who's actually be like calling the manager, getting the restaurant, getting the table, and all, for you to be taking over, taking control of that. Because if you do that, there are two types of guys that are there. The other one will be actually feel comfortable because maybe they are coming to you because they are looking for someone who actually be dominating. They're looking for someone who's like a mother figure to them, someone who actually take control so that they do not have to take control of their life. They might be a guy like that. And then there is the other one who actually feel like you are actually dominating and you're making them feel useless and invisible. So you need to understand which guy you are dating. Are you dating this version or you're dating this version? And what is it, or how do you need to work so that your relationship will work? And you need to understand that once you have understood that, then I feel like your relationship will actually work. Because there are a lot of things that will come at you, but you need to be able to understand whether this is something that you can handle. But if you're looking at this and then you're saying, I don't think I am willing to go that far, then take your poison. Do not date that person, because this is something that you as a person are not willing to go. You're not willing to walk that journey. Because if you take on, be like, okay, I'm just going to walk that journey, even though you're still going to feel like this is not for me. Why am I doing this? I am sacrificing myself. That is the doom and the death of a relationship. The doom and the death of a relationship happens when you take a poison that you're not willing to withstand. You actually die from that poison, right? So take on what you can handle. Understand that if by me dating this younger person, these are the things that will come at me. Whether they might not come from my family, they might not come from my close friends, maybe they will come from the community, whether they will come from the other people. So this is how I'm going to handle it, or I do not know how I'm going to handle it, but I know that we are going to handle it together. Because I've seen a lot of people coming on podcasts, and they'll be always saying how I dating a young man and we're happy, and they are happy. And people are always saying, no, it's not for me. Yes, it might not be for you. If it's not for you, then do not take it. But for them, it actually works for them. Because number one, they understand the situation that they're in, and they are willing to take on that. Because every relationship, there is no relationship that will be perfect. But is it something that you are willing to work on, or is not something that you're willing to work on? Because you find that it's not just when you're dating a younger person. There are some spaces where you actually have to date. You date someone who's much, much older than you. Other relationship works, but other relationships do not work. The reason being, other people understand the space that they're in, and they're willing to work on that space that they're in. And then other people actually keep the things that are happening environmentally inside the relationship. They keep them in their hearts, and then at the end of the day, they get to a point where it actually affects who they are, or they respond in a way that will hurt the other person because they are not willing to stay in that space. Understand where you are at. Love the space that you're at. And, it might happen. Doesn't matter whether they're dating a younger person, older person, same age or not the same age. People always talk. But make sure that you're getting in a space that you as a person are willing to stay in. Now, the question might be, can he lead now if he is younger? It is possible for him to actually lead even if he is younger, as long as you understand how the dynamics of the relationship works. There are some people who have actually become the sassy men, the men who are actually, more in touch with their feminine side. They might be like that. And then you as an empowered woman, maybe the dynamics in the relationship has shifted in such a way that you are more dominating than he is dominating. And if it works for both of you, then it's something that is fine. But if it's something where you are more dominating, he's more dominating, when it comes to the clashes that you have, they'll actually come back to haunt you. And this happens whether the person is older than you, whether the person is younger than you, whether what, it happens every time. All you need to do is to understand the characteristics that are there. You can understand your character, he understands his character, and you understand the characters that you bring in each other. Yes, I might be patient, but when it comes to when I'm with you, am I really patient? Why? Or there might be something like, okay, when I'm with you, you bring out this, this something in me that makes me not to be patient every time. So you need to understand how well you work together as a couple, how well you work together, and understand those aspects and actually build in such a way that you build the relationship that you want. You, both of you, are the only two people that can actually build the relationship that you want. There is no way someone else can actually build that relationship for you. Because when it comes to relationships, you are the only two people who are in the relationship. So make sure that you build it into a space that you are both comfortable with. If not, it will get to a point where the other person will actually resent the other person because they feel you made them into this. You made it, the relationship space, to be like this. If you ever get to a point where you are in a relationship with someone like, I love him, but I do not love who I am when I'm with him. I've got to those kind of spaces where you're like, okay, I love him. Everything is fine. Nothing is wrong. It's not like he does something bad to me, but I do not like the version of myself that I am when I'm with him. So the question that you need to ask is not about his birthday. It's not about his maturity. It's all about what you can handle as a person. Can you handle his immaturity if he is immature? Can you handle his, is it over the top maturity? I don't know. Over the top maturity, is it something that you can handle? Understand each other, the space where you're at, and understand that at some point you both grow. If you do not grow together, you might grow apart. If you grow together, then there is a chance where both of you might actually make it at this point. And yeah, just know that people will talk. People will talk. That's one thing that I know. People will always talk. But, don't be swayed by what other people say, but make sure that it is something that you can handle. If it's something that you can handle, date whomever you want, girl. Date whomever you want, and you're looking into that. And there seems to be like a whole trend when it comes to this. If you're even looking at celebrities, a lot of them are actually getting into this, like dating a younger man, and to them it's working for them. So if it's working for you, then it works for you. That's all that I had, and I hope that you like, subscribe, and share with someone that you think would definitely benefit. And this is the end of our conversation. No, this is the start of our conversation. Our conversation will continue in the comment section. So comment how you as a person you have actually encountered. What is it? What do you think? Should they date a younger person, or should they not date a younger person? That is the conversation that you're going to continue in the comment section. And it's up to you to actually put in there. And yeah, like, subscribe, share with someone, and let's have this conversation and see what others think. See you next time. Bye.